Hi, welcome to the Wardenberg Family Farm. Today I'm going to show you how I make a bunch of handmade Christmas decorations for the old farmhouse. For those of you that may not have watched our channel before, I'm Brenda and my husband Don's behind the camera. We bought this old farmhouse 4 years ago, and we brought a lot of our decorations from our old suburban house and they didn't feel farmy enough. So I've been in the process of converting over to things that feel more like they belong in an old farmhouse. So last year I made some handmade Christmas ornaments and Christmas decorations. This year I want to make a whole bunch more. So take a look at this picture. This is what I'm going to use to make the homemade Christmas ornaments. It doesn't look like much, does it? I'm going to show you how I turn that pile of junk into some beautiful Christmas decorations. It's going to be fun. I'm going to show you at least 6 ornaments that I'm going to try to make for the Christmas tree this year. There will be a cross-stitch ornament, a crocheted ornament, a cinnamon heart ornament, a decoupage ornament, dried oranges, which I've never done before, and good old pine cones. It's going to end up being a really, I think, a pretty tree when I'm done.
What you making tonight?
Tonight I'm working on the cross-stitch ornaments that I'm going to frame using canning rings that I have 5 million of.
Oh, nice.
And I found these patterns online. There's 4 cute little snowflakes.
I was going to ask why you have your phone out.
Well, that's my pattern.
Ah.
Can you see it on my cracked screen there?
Yeah. Why is your screen always cracked?
Because I drop my phone all the time.
Oh, okay. So is this one that you made already?
That was last night's. Yep.
Okay. Wow. That's pretty detailed.
Mm-hmm. I like cross-stitch. It's relaxing.
It doesn't look relaxing to me.
It is to people who enjoy it.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I think they're going to really be pretty. Put them in one of those canning rings and frame it, and then put a little string on it, some twine, and hang it from the tree.
I think it's a perfect tree decoration for a canning addict.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
And it will use up some of those canning rings.
Yeah.
I found these actually looking for crafts to use canning rings. And I needed Christmas ornaments, so it was perfect.
Nice. Okay, you got me. What are you making now?
Now I'm crocheting some snowflakes. Or stars, depending how you look at it. Look like fun? It is fun for me.
Okay, so all I know the difference between crocheting and knitting is knitting has 2 needles.
Right.
So, like, are you're just tying knots, or what is it?
Yeah, it's basically a series of knots, you know. There's just different combinations of knots to give you different stitches and different looks.
Okay, so how many years have you been crocheting?
Oh, how old am I? Probably 50 years.
Really?
Yeah, I started pretty young. Mom taught me pretty young. Yeah, my mom taught me how to crochet.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it is. You can see I've been working on these for a little bit. 3 different sizes, tiny ones, medium ones, and a little bit bigger.
And those are snowflakes.
Yep, and I still have to put those, you starch them, you put them in a water glue combination and stretch them out to set, and they'll be a little bit firmer. Right now they're all mushy.
Do you have to iron them?
No, you don't iron them, you just stretch them out and they dry firm then, and they'll hold their shape. I'll show you how to do that then.
They're beautiful.
They'll be even more beautiful after I starch them and stiffen them.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty fun.
So how many more do you have to make?
I'm probably going to make 8 or 10 more. I don't know, we'll see. Whatever I feel like making.
Okay, so you're a pro in this. How long did it take you to make one of these?
Oh, depends which one.
Okay.
These probably 15, 20 minutes maybe. Yeah, probably 15 or 20 minutes for the bigger ones.
And then how long would it take me to do one?
I don't know. You want to learn?
Yeah. So this is not necessarily a beginner's skill on
Well-
crocheting, is it?
Probably not. It's actually harder to crochet with this real fine, small thread than it is with regular, like, sweater weight thread or whatever. This is a little bit trickier.
Show me your, you don't call it a skein, do you? All the thread?
Actually, the big are called skein. I'm not sure if small ones are or not, I guess. It's a cotton, I think it's called cotton weight or something. But it's a very thin, you make like doilies or tablecloths or snowflakes, thinner stuff out of it. My mom used to make a lot of doilies.
Well, you look like you know what you're doing,
Hope I remember. I used to do this all the time.
but I think some people might panic to see you put Elmer's glue in your applesauce.
Not making a food item today. Today it's cinnamon heart ornaments. When I used to make these, I had a business, a craft business, and I sold probably thousands of these things. But that was what, 20 years ago?
Yeah.
A long time ago. So I have the applesauce and the cinnamon mixed together. Now I just have to pour some, the applesauce and the glue, now I just gotta pour some cinnamon in. Our house is gonna smell good today, I'll tell you what. I'll be baking that. Oh, where'd my spoon go? Oh, there it is.
I hope that cinnamon's not combustible. It heads over to the wood stove there, though.
I don't know, cinnamon combustible?
Well, it's suspended in the air, a lot of things are.
Now I remember I used to do this to a certain point with the spoon, then I just had to get in with my hands and squeeze it.
Well, let's take a look.
And if
Okay, so you have cinnamon, applesauce. That's a weird mix.
cinnamon, applesauce, and glue. But if it's too thin looking, you add a little cinnamon. If it's too thick, you add a little more applesauce. This might actually be just about right.
And these are to make ornaments that smell good.
Yes. They smell good and they're pretty. They just look old-fashioned, kind of. You know, and they're homemade. We're having a homemade Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Well, mostly homemade. That might be a little bit thin. I need a little more cinnamon, I think. I just remember it was easier to roll out.
How do you
easier.
know with the consistency?
Well, I was just feeling it. It's just easier to roll out and hold together if it's not too thick. It can get dry and brittle. I'll add a little bit.
So is there a recipe online? Are you going to attach something?
Well, I can attach a recipe, but there's a million of them online. And some of them don't use glue. I always did use glue. It just seemed to make it stronger. I don't know.
But they can be fragile.
They can be. My only concern this year is the youngest grandkids might think they're cookies and try to eat them. But one bite, I think they'd be pretty untasty.
Yeah.
So
look in here, you're getting all ready. You got your rolling pin.
Yep. Roll them out. And I'm just going to do hearts. You can do stars, hearts, gingerbread men, anything.
And is that fresh Bordenberg Family Farm?
Applesauce. Yeah, I wanted to just use cheap applesauce, but didn't get a chance to get out and get any.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't get a chance to get out and get any.
No.
Okay, I think that feels about right.
Oh, let's see the action here. Let's get a close up.
I'll start with half of it. It looks good.
Those are experienced hands working on those. And you got your good rings on though.
Oh well.
You transitioned from farming rings to inside.
Yeah, in the summer I just wear a simple band because of all the gardening and the dirt. But in winter, I go back to the nice rings. Now it's just like you're doing a pastry. You want to have a little bit of cinnamon on the thing before you roll it out.
Just don't sneeze or anything. Blow it all away.
And then start rolling.
Well, I think your grandkids, especially granddaughters, would be able to do this.
They would be. I'm just running out of time.
You could always make some more when they're here. They're coming over to stay next week, aren't they?
Oh yeah, we can always make more. I'd find
You can
somewhere.
bring them home.
That's true, they can hang them on their tree. Have to make sure their moms want them on the tree.
Everybody has their own unique style, don't they, for the trees?
Yeah, they do. They do. It's all whatever you like, you know? I just felt like having more homemade stuff. So I made some bigger ones last year. This year I want smaller ones. I'm going to put them on some wreaths, hang them from some little trees. I just needed some little ones.
So, how do you know how thick to make them? Are they sturdier if they're thicker?
Yeah,
or
well,
do
they're
they
definitely
crack
sturdier,
more?
but it's really kind of personal preference how thick you want them. The thicker they are, the longer it'll take to dry.
But do they crack more when they're thin?
They would break a lot easier. Yeah. When I used to do these years ago, I had plenty of time, so I would just let them air dry. But since Christmas is getting here sooner, I'd rather just stick them in the oven for a low temperature for a certain amount of time until they're dry, and they'll be ready a lot faster than if I just air
Well,
dried them.
the grandchildren would love to do that part, cutting them out.
Oh yeah.
Do you have to put a hole in them then? When do you do that?
Right before I put them in the oven, I'll poke them with a shish kebab stick.
Ah,
And make
okay.
a hole. You can drill them. And I used to drill them when they were dry, but I'm afraid I'll break them now.
Okay.
I think I used to be a lot better at this than I am now. A lot more practiced. Let me get them a little closer together so I can get more on the tray.
Okay. Well, we'll revisit you when you put the holes in them. Here.
Okay, sounds good.
Time to poke the holes?
Yep. And they're poking nicely. You gotta be careful not to get glue close to the top or then it'll break when you go to put string through it. They're ready to go in the oven. I'm gonna put them in at 200 and one place said 2.5 hours. I'm just gonna keep an eye on them and check them like every 20 minutes. If they start to curl, I might be flipping them halfway through. I know when I used to let them air dry, they would sometimes flip, curl up a little bit. So, we'll see how they do. I'll just switch them around since I can only get one tray on the top there. So I'll set the timer for 20 minutes and check them in 20 minutes. And see how they do. Cinnamon hearts are baking in the oven, so I'm going to start stiffening my little crocheted snowflakes or stars. And I just do roughly 50-50. This is really estimated. The more glue you put in, the stiffer they'll be. I just want them a little bit stiff. So there.
So show me that glue. Is it just wood glue?
Just Elmer's glue all.
Glue
Regular
all.
old white glue. That's what I use in the hearts and in this. And just get it till it's all watered down and milky. Now I have a piece of styrofoam, or what is this, like insulation stuff?
Yeah, it's insulation board.
With plastic over top, saran wrap, just so the stuff won't stick to it as much. And what I'll be doing is dipping it in this stuff, pinning it out here, perfectly shaped, and it'll dry firmly in that shape.
So why is it styrofoam and just not any other board?
So you can stick a pin in it.
Oh, yes.
All right, I think that's ready.
All your pins here.
So I'll start with a baby one. The cinnamon hearts was messy. This is another messy job. Just stick it down in there, squeeze most of it out, and then I'm going to pin them.
So you just stretch it out. Huh?
Yep. From the tip to tip. One tip. And another tip. And sometimes you have to fiddle with the pins so because it's not even. Get it until it looks pretty even. The key doesn't look right. You just have to get it till it looks right to you. Because however you have it pinned down, that's how it will be drying.
So you don't have to iron them or anything?
No, this takes care of it. Now you can put glitter in your water glue combination too, and then there'll be glittery snowflakes. But personally, I'm not a glitter person.
Okay.
At first you get your hands all covered in cinnamon for the cinnamon hearts. Now they'll be all icky and sticky and gluey. But you need a lot of pins if you have many of these things. And you can see I have quite a few pins. Again, just like these, I made big ones last year, but I want smaller ones for some small trees this year.
So how long does this take to dry?
It depends on how wet they are and how dry your air is. I'll probably keep it here by the stove, some heat, and if with a fan running on them. I'd say within a day, maybe 2 days. There, my oven's preheated with my cinnamon hearts. It might take 2 days. I'll let you know how long it takes. And I make sure they're completely dry before I take them off of here.
So just glue and water, no applesauce.
No applesauce in this one. And the leftover applesauce from the cinnamon hearts, we'll be having that with dinner. No glue in it though. Yeah.
All right, well, we'll come back when you're...
When I have them all stretched out.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, you're making good progress.
Yep, I have the 2 smaller sizes. Now this is the bigger that I made this time. And you see, it doesn't look like much when it's just kind of laying there. But then until you stretch it out, it looks pretty cool. And we'll hold its shape when you take the pins out after it's dry. It'll look just like that. Isn't that beautiful?
There it is.
There. Perfect
So
snowflake.
that's stronger than if you used a lot of starch on it?
I don't know. I never used starch. I've just always done it with glue. It works. I don't know. I always had glue around, so I guess that's why I use glue. Yeah, and the first 2 were 5 point. These are 6 points. So when I do have something with even points, I do opposite sides. Like I'll do this point, and then the one opposite of it. And the thing is, you can fiddle with it and, you know, take pins out and in so you get it where you want it to be. Putting the last of my cross-stitch snowflakes into their ball canning ring frames. And all I did was cut cardboard the right size to fit inside here, center the design, and push it in. Okay, and the only thing I did to disguise the back was to fold it up, put another piece of cardboard in, and hide all that mess. And maybe next year I'll have the time to put a fancy piece of fabric in the back, but for now, there's my cross-stitch ornament.
Very nice.
Ready to go on the tree.
Now, do you have enough rings?
I could make probably 500 of these things. Plenty of rings. Just not enough time to cross-stitch the ornaments. I just had an idea. If you wanted to do some of these and you don't have time this year to cross-stitch them, or you don't want to cross-stitch them, you could go out and buy some pretty Christmas fabric that had patterns that would fit nicely inside the ring. Cut the fabric, cut some cardboard, and you could make it just with any pretty Christmas picture and use up some of those canning rings. Maybe I'll do some of those. Cinnamon hearts are in the oven. Snowflakes are drying by the fire. Now it's time to put some strings and cinnamon sticks on my nice dried orange slices. I never did this before. Aren't they cute? It's just slicing them real thin, doing them at a low temperature for a long time. Aren't they gorgeous?
Yeah. Wow.
Now to get a string through them, I'm going to use a tapestry needle or tapestry needle and thread some twine through it. I'm going to go through one way, at the end, and then go through again the other way. So it kind of makes a loop. I have a loop to be able to tie it tight. And I'm going to hook the cinnamon stick in there too. So I'll stick a cinnamon stick in there and pull it tight. Voila. I'm going to tie a little bow in the front just to make it extra pretty. Because Donnie said they're prettier with bows. So I'll just feed some more twine through there. Tie a little bow. And we'll have a orange and cinnamon ornament. And they smell good too. They really do smell good. Aren't they cute?
Very cute.
Yeah, for not much money at all.
And the technical ability on this one is...
Anybody can do it.
Yep. And you dried those in an oven?
Yeah, I think I did it like 200 for, I forget how long it was. A couple of them got kind of on the dark side. Look at this guy. He had maybe a little too dried. I didn't have them sliced exactly the same width, every one. I tried to get as close as I could, but the ones that weren't quite as thick dried a little faster. I tried to watch them take them out, but they're still cute, just a little browner.
So in years past for Christmas, they used very simple items, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Well, they used what they had.
Yeah.
You know? But they also had real candles on the trees. That's a little scary these days.
Yeah.
Since you used to be a fire chief, I know you wouldn't go for that.
Nope.
Yeah, so he's a farmer now, but he has been a fire chief in the past. He's done a little bit of everything. Now comes a very easy ornament, pine cones. I just went out on our pine trees, white pines, right? Grabbed some pine cones, and then I did take care of them before I got them to this point. I soaked them in warm water and vinegar. That's supposed to like kill bacteria, kill germs, and kill any bugs. And then I did bake them in an oven at 200 for 2 hours. And that kind of releases all the sap. So you want to make sure you have parchment paper on your cookie tray before you bake them like that. But now they're completely clean, hard, ready to tie a little string on it and hang them on the tree.
Let's see.
See? Handy dandy little Christmas ornament. For free. And they're cute.
The basket here. So those are all Wardenberg Family Farm.
They are Wardenberg Family Farm pine cones.
Wow.
Yeah, and the trees are what, 3 years old, 2 years old? They're not real old trees. So by next year there'll be even more pine cones.
Yep.
But it makes a cute little look on the tree, you know? Well, there's pine cones on pine trees. So it looks authentic. It looks really cute. I'm going to do an experiment. I have extra pine cones, and I saw a thing on Pinterest that you can make the cinnamon scented pine cones like you see in the store. So it's fractionated, is that how it's pronounced? Fractionated coconut oil, which I happen to have, and some cinnamon, essential oil.
So what's that, water?
No, that's the coconut oil, fractionated coconut oil.
Okay.
Mix that up. Supposed to put 5 pine cones in each bag and then split that between the 2 bags. Let's see if this works. Pine cones in the bag. Pine cones in the bag. And then pour half in each bag. About half. And half. Supposedly to get the oil all over the pine cones. Leave them in there for 24 hours, and you're supposed to have cinnamon scented pine cones. I'll let you know if it works. Cinnamon hearts are all dry. Now it's just time to put the twine in them, and they'll be ready to put in the tree. And they took about 2 to 2.5 hours to dry. There were a couple really thick ones that weren't quite dry. I just let them air dry out in the air. And now I'm just taking and putting a crochet hook through the hole, pulling the twine through. Bada bing, bada bing.
Let me see these finished ones.
Crochet hooks come in handy, not just for crocheting. They're cute, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
And they smell amazing. Well, the snowflakes and stars were dry within 24 hours. And they are nice and stiff. Aren't they pretty once they're blocked and they're starched or whatever? You do have to be careful when you're taking them off the board though, because they will stick. So I hold the end down as I'm pulling the pin out. And they stick a little bit to the paper, but voila, beautiful snowflake.
Nice.
Now I just have to put the twine through them and they'll be ready for the tree.
Okay.
I'll do exactly like I did with the hearts. Just stick a crochet hook through, grab the twine, and pull it through. And they'll be ready to hang on the tree. Beautiful. Now it's time to decoupage, which I had never done before. I did a few earlier this afternoon just to experiment and see if it worked, and they turned out pretty cute. All it is napkins. You find pretty napkins that'll fit on some wood things, which my husband and my son cut nice for me, some round ones and some oblong ones.
And they're very thin, aren't they? They're about
Some are thin.
1/8 of an inch.
Well, some
to
are
a
thicker.
quarter
Probably
inch.
quarter inch is probably about right. But the hardest part of this whole thing was getting the layers of the napkins apart. You want to take any of the back layers off, so all you have is that front thin layer. And trying to get that started on some of them was almost impossible. And you got to watch, because a couple of these were 3 layers. I pulled a layer off, I thought they were done. There was another layer to go. So that's the hardest part. Now, I'm going to try one with the word Noel. It doesn't quite fit, but I'm going to see what it looks like with most of it on there.
Could you use other things like magazine pictures?
I don't know if they'd be thin enough. I'm not a decoupage expert.
Okay.
I think these look so cool because they are so thin. Now I'm just going around and kind of pushing and marking it down so it makes a little crease and I'll know where to cut it.
Oh.
Just so it leaves kind of like a little push
Okay,
mark, and then
sure.
I'll know where to cut it.
Okay. So then you just cut it out.
Mm-hmm.
Now this looks like one that I think I could do.
Oh, you could do this. Maybe you should do these. I'm not sure if this one's going to be my favorite to do. After you get the napkins pulled apart and them cut out delicately to the shape of your thing, put some of this Mod Podge on the wood. And the instructions I saw said the wood will really suck it up, so be generous. I'm not sure exactly what generous is, since I've never done it. So I'm just smacking a lot of it on there. And then you carefully lay your design on top of there. And kind of push it down and smooth it out gently, because those thin little napkins can tear really easy. And then you put a coat over the top.
I could definitely do that.
You could do this, yeah. You can do the rest of them. How about that? Okay, and let it dry.
And when it dries clear, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. And I have a couple wrinkles in there, which probably isn't correct decoupage, but I kind of like the look of it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let them in there. So, dear, you want to go ahead and cut out a whole bunch more for me and get them lined up? He likes doing things a little artistically. I'm like real exact about stuff.
Want everything in the center.
So we'll have some artistic ones and some boring ones. Got lots of cutting to do. What do you think? I love it. I love how they all turned out. That was fun. So I hope I gave you some encouragement to make some homemade Christmas ornaments. We'll be doing a tour of the whole farmhouse decorated for Christmas in a couple of weeks, so come back for that one. In the meantime, we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.